Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is the Blue Collar Wine Show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. And we're still talking about wines for Christmas, of course, but my wife and I have been talking about our trip to Italy in March, and it just kind of got me thinking about, well, yeah, why not Italian wines to go with Christmas meal? Certainly if you're doing prime rib, there's a lot of great reds out of Italy that would do quite nicely. Probably one of my favorite parts of the world, old world for wine. Of course, love Spain, Portugal, France. I love them all. Well, who am I kidding? I love them all. But I do like Italian wines. I think they're incredible food wines. And you know, in Italy, especially when it comes to dinner time, food is a big deal. And I can hardly wait to go there and enjoy their culinary experience along with the wine experience, along with just viewing the area. Neither Susie or I have been to northern Italy. So we have three wines, and we're going to just jump all over the place in Italy. Why not? I mean, you know, sometimes you do all Valpolicella, you do all Sangiovese, all Chianti, maybe you do all from Puglia or whatever. We're just going to go all over the place. What the heck? So let's get started with the Tenuta Sassoregali Sangiovese from Maremma, Toscano. So Maremma is headed over towards the ocean a little bit, close, heading towards the water, to the west of Tuscany. Maremma is a really cool area, and this is where a lot of the Mavericks that started doing Super Tuscans were around the Maremma area. And so because they wanted to use Cab and Merlot in their blends, and of course if you're in Chianti you cannot do that. You can only use Sangiovese as a main base with a little bit of a Caniolo in the wine. So they just wanted, you know, they kind of were Mavericks, and now of course in Chianti they're allowing them to use Cab and Merlot in their blends. So let's get started right off the bat. This is the 2016 Sassoregali Sangiovese. It rolls in at $16. I think Sangiovese is probably one of the best food wines you can find out there. That is the main grape for Chianti and Chianti Classico. We've done episodes on those. You start doing pasta with red sauce, lamb, all those things go really well with Sangiovese. But I'm thinking maybe prime rib as well, or even ham. Let's see what we get on the nose. Besides a wet lip. By the way, beard's off. No Shave November is over. I went a little bit into December. You know, Susie put up with me. You know, she doesn't like beards, but you know, I thought I'd let it grow a little bit. Got the tree up. I think in prior episodes I had it up as well, but now it's finished off, decorating. What do we get on the nose here? Interesting. A little bit of earth, definitely earth. There's an interesting kind of toasty component come through. I guess it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. Kind of like toast and strawberries. Almost like a, you know, it's almost like fresh baked bread. Really. Quite intriguing on those. A little bit challenged, I will say that. Let's see what we get on palate. I like this wine. It's really light on its feet. I get a lot of strawberry, a little bit of rust underneath the strawberries. It reminds me of, I want to thank Gordy for commenting. He said when he started talking about Brussels sprout and tobacco, he said there's not a big enough spit bucket for me. Thanks for the comment. Gordy's a funny guy. Now this is light on its feet. It's got a nice strawberry component coming through, a little bit of rust underneath. I get a little bit of dirt action. strawberry is dominant on this one. And then it has just like a trace of licorice right underneath that strawberry. Then that rust sneaks through. It's not super powerful on the palate, which I don't think a Sangiovese necessarily should be. I think this is really what I like about this wine the most. For 16 bucks, you get a nice reflection of what Sangiovese is all about. You don't get any of that big fat Parker wines that a lot of Italy has gone to. Parker's, of course, lost a lot of thunder, but the point is, it's not just Parker. A lot of people were kind of pushing these wineries to make big fruit forward wines to sell to the American public. What I like about my customers now, and I see it, a trend, is that they're trending towards old world wines more and more, and that's very cool, which means they're also having wine with their food, which is also very, very cool. Just a really nice drinking table red. That's what we got here for 16 bucks. I think it's a good play. I think it's a solid wine. I think it's really old world. It needs food. And this would go with ham. Just saying, this would go nicely with ham, actually. Might be a little too light for a prime rib if you have it all spiced up. No, I like this wine a lot. I think 16 bucks is a fair play. I like it simply because it's true old world. It's nothing exciting, don't get me wrong. It's not like super powerful, sort of fantastically complex wine, but it's just a nice drinkable red. I'm going to go C+ on that wine. Just a hair above average, but I like it. I like it a lot. If you want to try it, if anybody wants to try a Sangiovese, I think that is the one to go to. Let's move on. This is the 2014 Fuminelli Valpolicella Classico Superiore, and this rolls in at $24. Now we're going up further north to Valpolicella, which is where Susie and I are going to go up to Verona. And Valpolicella Classico is primarily the Corvina grape, but they also do Corvinone, Rodinelli, and Molinari. Those are the four grapes, but primarily Corvina, and usually it's more than 50% of the blend. Now, Classico Superiore, Valpolicella Classico, is a little bit better than your average Valpolicellas, which are grown in the valley. These are a little higher elevation, more drainage. The fruit quality is a little bit better. But some of these producers that have Valpolicella Classicos have some property just outside their property where they grow Valpolicella, so you might get a little better quality there. Corvina is also the main grape of Amarone, which a lot of you are familiar with. I know my boss loves Amarone, and that comes from the same grape as Valpolicella Classico. And Superiore, they can attach that onto it if it's been aged in bottle 1 year prior to release. So there you go. What's happening? Valpolicella means Valley of Many Cellars. Very cool. And this is one thing about old world wines, and don't let it scare you away if you're just new into the wine world. Just remember the name Corvina. It's the main grape of Valpolicella. Valpolicella is the region that it's in, which is how they do it in Europe. So, and they don't put the grape varieties on there. Now, we expect that from the old world. Don't expect that from the new world. So don't get confused about what I say about them putting the grapes that are in the wine in the new world. In the U.S., I think they should. Because we don't have these classic areas like Valpolicella where that's all they put in there is Corvina, Corvinone, and Rodinella, and Molinari. They don't use Molinari quite as much because it's easily oxidized, it's kind of weak, higher in acid, so they've kind of backed off using that. I still think they use Rodinella quite a fair amount, and it's interesting, Corvinone is not directly related to Corvina. I used to thought that it was a kind of a hybrid of Corvina. It's not. It's a different grape entirely. There are some relations, but it is not a hybrid of Corvina. So, let's see what we get on the nose. I get a little bit of a meat marinade on it. Umami, maybe. A little bit of bark coming through. I get strawberries, a little red flower notes. Yeah, a little bit of soy sauce coming through, which is interesting. Let's see what we get on the palate. A little bit of that bark, kind of sawdust bark thing coming through. Let's see what we get on the palate. That's a fantastic wine. Just say it. Fantastic. Okay, so this is also light on its feet, but unlike this one, this has a lot more going on. Huge amount of complexity on this wine. I get strawberries, I get a little bit of blackberry coming through, I get licorice, I get a lot of red flower petals almost, you know, like you're chewing on a red flower of some sort. Violets, probably, I would say violets. Yeah, an absolute boatload of red flowers. Good tannins, but they're soft, very approachable. A little bit of crushed rock coming through underneath. This is a beauty. I mean, it does need food. It has good acidity, nicely integrated into the wine. It has its good harmony, you might say. It just is so balanced and seamless with a little bit of attitude on the backside. It's still lingering, the red flowers. I get a little bit of red raspberry as well coming through with the licorice. I get just the tiniest bit of old world funk on the underbelly of this wine. Beautiful. I mean, this is a beautiful wine. It is soft and edgy and balanced and a good food wine. Still might be, in my opinion, just a little too light for a prime rib. This would be a good ham wine as well if you're doing a Christmas ham. I think this would be a good play. It's $24. This is a beauty. What I like about this one too is it will definitely age easily for another 8 years. Easily. And it will only get better. I think those red flower notes will just keep taking over and it'll be more perfumed. Just a nice balance of acidity, tannins, fruit, minerality, it's all there. I'm going to go A+. I just think that is a beauty. That is a beauty. That's what Valpolicella should be. Okay. Now, we're going back to Tuscany, but this time we're going to an area called Suveretto DOCG. A very new DOCG in the Tuscan region. This is Hebo. It is a Petra Hebo from Suveretto, Tuscany, 2015, and this rolls in at $28. Okay, now this has the varietals on the back, and this is the thing about Suveretto. They definitely are not necessarily Sangiovese dominant. It is 50% Cab, 40% Merlot, 10% Sangiovese. This area has really focused on these international grapes, especially Merlot and Cab. And they can even make a Cab, a Merlot, or a Sangiovese, straight up, Cab or Merlot, which is more interesting when you're talking about Italy. But it has to be at least 85% of that varietal to have it, say, Cabernet Sauvignon Suveretto, or Merlot Suveretto. It has to have at least 85%. This is a blend. This is what they're known for, and it is a very recent DOCG. It hasn't been around very long. So I heard somebody rolling up there. All right, let's see what we get on those. I think I got a stew going in the crock pot, or a pot roast, and I think that might be affecting the smell of the wine. Interesting, my first thought was blueberries. A lot of like dried wood, dried pieces of wood that you kicked and they scattered around. You know that smell you get? I'm getting that. This also has kind of a toastiness to it, which is interesting. But not getting much more than that. Let's see what we get on the palate. Interesting. I showed it. Yeah, I showed it. $28. A lot of fruit on this wine. A lot of fruit. It really fills the mid palate. It's very smooth. It expands on the mid palate. I get currants, dark cherries, and currants for sure. It's just a very smooth wine. I mean, it's like, as soon as I put it in my mouth, I said, really? This is from Italy? Okay, right on the backside, you get a little bit of that crushed rock. You kind of get that feeling of wood, like old wood coming through. But it's definitely front to mid palate before it hits the finish. It's not a fruit bomb. It's well balanced, nicely balanced wine. It reminds me of a New World wine in the first two stages until it gets to the finish and it says, oh, by the way, I came from Italy, or oh, by the way, I came from France. But it's not a fruit bomb. I mean, it's well balanced. You get that nice currant and dark cherry notes, front to finish, and then that kind of crushed rock minerality comes through at the very back end. And then right at the very end, you get a little bit of that kind of old wood I was talking about that I smelled on the nose. Sweet tannins, and then really interesting, right at the back, just before the finish, I got that little bit of blueberry that I smelled at the beginning. It's all there. This wine bothers me just a little bit because it's $28. I know, I'm just saying you can get a lot of wines. This is a classic. I want to be introduced to Italian wines, but I love cabs from California. I love Merlot from Washington. I love Syrah, that sort of thing. This would be a nice intro wine. The trouble is getting somebody to spend $28 as an intro wine. That's the problem. Now, $28 isn't overpriced for this wine. I think it has a lot of characteristics to it. I think it's a little bit too much New World for me, being from Italy up front, but it does show its true colors on the backside, which is a good thing. Even getting a little bit of spice right at the very end, so the finish goes on for quite a while. Okay, now it's opening up a little bit. Get a little bit of that kind of Cab Franc-ish sort of thing coming, a little bit of vegetal action, but it's hardly a dominant part of it. I think this wine, as it opens up, which I said before about Hess, and I am going to do another episode real quickly. I'm going to do another episode on the Hess Malbec that I reviewed a couple episodes ago, because that baby just opened up like crazy the next day. And I said it 3 or 4 times in the episode that I think this one will open up, and I should have went with it. I could have scored that one a lot higher, but I want to review it again for you guys to see how well that opened up. So I think this has a little bit more time if you decanted it, which I encourage you to do with this one. It will open up and you'll get those layers that we're not seeing right now, although this one just started to appear. Yeah, a little bit of red flower coming through. I'm going to go B+, A- on this one. I think it's a solid wine. I think it's very good. This is a nice lineup, really. You got a good table red right there, C+. You got an A+ wine here, and you've got a B+, A- wine. Pretty solid lineup, very solid. Thanks for taking just a little bit of time out of your day to watch. I hope you're enjoying these. Thank you for the comments that are coming through. They're really encouraging. I like them a lot. I really appreciate your time. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the little bell if you want to see when I'm uploading an episode. I upload an episode. I try to upload every Tuesday and Friday, so you can be prepared for that. I've been pretty consistent lately. I like it. I'm going to try and stick to that. Really, really putting forth a solid effort to stick to that. Thanks for your comment, Gordy. And hey, just want to take a little shout out to Donnie. Not my brother, Don, but friend, a driver that comes to the island and drops off product at the store. He's watching the episodes. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.